As an experiment on all of my videos, I disabled comment filtering for, I think it took 3 days for someone to figure this out. You look creepy and weird. Why would you make a video like that? Strange. It's amazing that liberals love to spread lies and conspiracy theories. Now, I want to point out that this is a YouTube channel that debunks conspiracy theories, and I state up front that I'm primarily liberal. That is in the classic sense of classic liberal, mostly. I also state that I used to go after and almost exclusively went after liberals because I felt more comfortable criticizing the group of people that pretend to represent me in the legal system and in our government. And then I ran into, instead of liberals promoting conspiracy theories and crap, I found conservatives wholeheartedly embracing them much more. And I go after the group of people that's being lied to the most. And it doesn't do any good because now it's gotten to the point on the conservative end of it that it's as bad or worse than it was when people were soccer moms complaining about how sugar is a drug like cocaine when it isn't. By the way, it isn't, and you really need to stop repeating that stuff. This week I was told that it's salt. Seriously, stop listening to people who are selling you supplements. Because they're selling you something, that should be a clue. Okay, but anyway, liberals love to spread lies and conspiracy theories. This is the claim. Now, when people say that, I can say, yeah, some do and some don't. But when I run into conspiracy theories spread by liberals, they're usually based on them overinflating a story that's real. When I run into conservatives doing this sort of thing, they've made it up from whole cloth, and or it came from a source within the conservative population that's notorious for literally bullshitting these stories into existence. I mean, that's it. It used to be you could count on liberals literally reading something almost the same as The Onion and repeating the story. That way you could make fun of them and then they would stop doing it. On the conservative end of it, they double down and just keep repeating it and louder and with an implied threat that they'll sock you in the nose if you contradict them again. It's a different attitude. It's a little different. Remember the Russia hoax? It wasn't. This is another person that would probably say that Hillary Clinton really did have an email server that did all those things that Donald Trump said, when you can read the report about what happened and find out that he's full of shit. Well, yeah, and we're going to see some what about. Well, if he was guilty of something, it was made up. Or if it wasn't made up, it was blah, blah. You're going to see the backpedaling in a minute. But anyway, here we go. You carry around debunked stories like Linus and his blankets. It's obsessively pathetic. All right? The Russia hoax you're referring to is not true. You're repeating something that isn't true. And then, of course, because the way this is worded, Russia hoax, that's not what it's called. The idea that the Russians tried to get rid of the potential liberal candidate winning, that really did happen because that really did happen. And Donald Trump openly being involved in attempting to foister this kind of shit. Well, that was a debunked thing. No, actually it wasn't. That's kind of the point. But, again, a person who wants to believe a conspiracy theory rather than looking up what happened and seeing what went wrong. Yes, there was reporting going on that was dumb. There was politicians who made mistakes about what they were saying or just lied. I understand that. But did this actually happen involving, we're going to cut through this naming game here. Were the Russians and the Conservative Party of the United States, otherwise known as the Republican Party or Grounded Party, were they involved in collusion with each other? Yes, collusion, to get dirt on Democrats. You see, that's what it's actually referring to. That's a lot harder than a bumper sticker that says Russia. Yes, that actually did happen. And yes, Donald Trump did take documents he wasn't legally allowed to, and one of his former lawyers has stated that he was advised not to because it would be a criminal act. He didn't say that it was a criminal act because he would have gotten fired immediately. Don't tell Donald Trump he's about to commit a crime. That's actually what he said, using third person in his statement to someone once. Because not everybody signed a non-disclosure agreement for this filthy piece of shit. You people constantly try to make others think what they see and hear with their own eyes and ears is not real. No, I tell you to actually look at things and read them and listen to people and not misquote them. What I'm running into is a group of people that will literally look at a sheet of paper that's white with the words hello and goodbye on it and say it says something else or there's a deeper meaning. That's happening mostly on your side these days. Like, I say mostly, but literally 10 to 1 worst case scenario. You have an entire party that's infiltrated with conspiracy theorists. And I'm going to keep using that word because it aggravates people like you. That's not the correct word. Self-projecting is a way out of hand also. You accuse others of doing the same thing your party does. Your party has politicians that have accused people of things they are absolutely guilty of and get caught with doing. Most of the people who worked under Trump that were handpicked by Trump as being very reliable, or whatever meme we want to use this week, have turned out to be criminals. Well, what about the guy he pardoned because he was dead-ass guilty, but he agreed to pardon him if he ever got caught, because if you're president, you can pardon somebody. That's the behavior of a mobster, and that was Donald Trump. And you just did it. It doesn't matter what video this is. It's any one of the videos where I debunk some conspiracy theory or some bullshit story that was put out for that month. And you're not addressing what the subject matter in the video is. You're new here. How many times has CNN been sued for falsifying story and defamation of character? I'm one of their victims, and I've looked this up, and they settle them out of court and or just take down the content or put up a retraction so they don't go to court. CNN has been notorious for putting up a retraction buried, but they can do it, just like any newspaper would do, so they can't be sued because they put in a retraction saying they made a mistake. In order to sue them for falsifying a story or defamation, you have to be able to prove that they did it intentionally. If they simply do a retraction, you have no leg to stand on legally. How many times has Donald Trump claimed that CNN has been sued? Lots. They just do a retraction and your case is moot. And in my case, I'm able to absolutely file a court case against CNN, Cable News Network, for implying strongly but not overtly saying that I was something that I'm not. But all that would mean is the maximum I could get out of a court case would be the cost of the court case and compelling CNN to take down, not kidding, about 2 seconds worth of video content. They would just have to blanket on their website and on YouTube, which would take 2 minutes. Quit acting like you're all saints and anything you vomit up is the truth and nothing but the truth. This is not a, quote, Democrat channel or a liberal channel. This is my channel. And if you're critiquing what my video is about by not mentioning a damn thing in it, you're avoiding the subject matter more than I am. I am deliberately not looking at the video because unless you bring up the content, your comment's going to be erased. I'll archive it. The archive will be below, and I will let people read this. Now, because of YouTube's flagging of this is funny, I got threatened with a flagging for linking to YouTube to their terms of use. Yeah, the community guidelines strike page. I have a video that was, and I said, you're flagging me for linking to your page as misinformation. And it was the current version. So anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have an archive below to this, and I'm not going to have this person's commentary in it. If you want to read what they said, like I am right now, you can go ahead and do it with me if you want to, but let's move on. Many on your side lack a boatload of common sense and discernment. Discernment. That's your go-to word for, I'm not looking it up, I did my own research. I can discern the truth. That means you refuse to look up any facts. That word is a dog whistle among a lot of conservatives and liberals. I can discern the facts about these chemtrails. No, libtard, you can't. You have to actually look up where the story came from. And yeah, it was used to sell supplements. So let's move on. They're completely oblivious when they are being taken as a fool. That sentence is extremely non-sequitorial, but here we go. Let's move on. Normally, they have nothing to back up their claptrap with either. Have you ever noticed that on CNN? They hardly ever have video. If they do, it's been proven to be edited. Oh, okay, so if video absolutely proves Donald Trump said something, you claim it was edited. But let's do this one here. They have nothing to back up the things they say because liberals never have anything to back it up. Fuck ton of links in the description that usually get me in trouble with YouTube and Google that say otherwise. You are, again, still not addressing the video content. You're avoiding the subject matter and yelling, I hate libtards. So this is your idea of owning the libs. Don't cover the subject matter. By the way, there was a playbook of sorts that was created in the 80s and then 90s and redone later on, telling conservatives that when they address a subject in a debate, avoid discussing the subject. Hurl insults, make characterizations, but do not discuss it. It's easier to do. You don't have to do any work. You don't have to do any homework learning about what you're debating. You can ignore the debate subject and just attack the person. You have not once addressed what the video was about. Period. It doesn't matter what it is. This is something you could cut and paste anywhere to yell at any liberal. See, you're being lazy. Let's see if you could address it eventually. Let's see. They lack crucial evidence of many of their conjured up wild stories. That is what gets them in trouble. And you're talking about CNN or liberals. Okay. I don't watch CNN, but I do look up the stories they put up and immediately don't watch the video, which they insist on playing automatically, and look up the background for it. I address the subject matter, not what CNN said or Fox. I've been criticized for not discussing what Fox said. I don't care what Fox Channel said or CNN. If you bring up a subject about whether or not an earthquake happened in a particular city, instead of 5 miles away as the epicenter or 50, yes, I did a video like that where someone claimed it was only the city that was hit with an earthquake and it looked suspicious. No, it was 50 miles away and they got a tiny amount of it. The problem with the city was all of the buildings were not earthquake proof or earthquake resistant because it was an area that hasn't had an earthquake in almost 200 fucking years. Why would they bother doing that? Now everything has to be earthquake rated. Well, it's government intervention. Okay, you could say that, but all their buildings fell down. But anyway, someone claimed it only attacked that it was focused on the city. No, it wasn't. And it was some conspiracy theorist in the area trying to get elected that spread this story. I don't even remember what it was about, really. I don't even remember what city it was in anymore. But the point is, I didn't watch CNN or Fox because they never mentioned even the day the damn thing happened. I had to go look it up from the earthquake database. You know, the source of the information. And I found the earthquake epicenter was 50 miles away. They weren't 50 or 15, excuse me, probably 15, I'm sorry, my mistake. But anyway, yeah, let's move on. They jump on anything without knowing all the facts and details. Instead of live coverage showing proof or even talking sanely about real news, you want live coverage, doing it live. It's just a bunch of political talking heads in Brady Bunch squares or at tables rambling angrily about their political opponent. Okay, the source of information that you're talking about, CNN, does that on the political-oriented stuff, which I would say should be erased immediately. But that would mean Fox News would have to disappear entirely because that's the only thing they do. They talk about weather phenomena as it being politically based. And again, you haven't addressed the subject. Their viewers then repeat everything they say like talking parrots on crack. Again, you haven't addressed the subject matter. I don't like QAnon, but far left-wingers are just as crazy as they are. Okay, but we have far left-wingers that are a smaller population, or not, but they're not running the Democratic Party so far. Some of them are, but not very many. On the Republican side, you have people who are advocating for the violent overthrow of the U.S. government and an establishment of a Christian religious state. And they're mainstream, and they're becoming the majority of your party, and you're not addressing it. Your comment's going to be erased because you did not stay on subject. You did not discuss anything about what the video is about, and you're just yelling about how angry you are, pounding your little fists about how CNN doesn't cover things the way you want them to, and I would say projecting. Now, I'm going to let everybody who wants to critique this video on this topic look at the only link I'm going to provide, which is an archive of what you said here, and critique whether or not I mischaracterized you. I omitted about the last third of it because we'd run out of time. You've written a book, said nothing, signified nothing, lots of thunder and squealing, and you did not address the subject matter of the video. Because this is a cut and paste. I looked this up. You post this everywhere, at every liberal, except for the I look creepy and stuff. The rest of this is a cut and paste. Prove me wrong. Actually address the video, not talking about me or my face, and discuss the subject. Or go fuck yourself. Thanks for watching. Have a good day. Good luck.